Welcome back, Alphas. This topic is so exciting that I had to squeeze out a video over a few nights so that we could discuss it. So hold position. Fun first. Star Citizen's Sean Tracy revealed his focus for a new game mode for Star Marine. It's called Theaters of War. It was showcased at CitizenCon, in case you missed it. CIG has decided that they have enough assets and mechanics in the game right now that they can start putting some structure around mixed combat. If you got a half hour to spare and an itch to play, Theaters of War is going to be for you. You can get in, get out. This 30-minute injection of Star Citizen combat is exactly what someone like me needs for weeknights. Theaters has been described as a petri dish for combined arms combat that gives us more immediate engagement, so it's easier and quicker for them to compile data and feedback, learning what needs to be changed, balanced, or added to the game to get it ready for release. And as a bonus, these scenarios are planned to show the story of some Star Citizen lore. It's kind of a cool little touch, I think. There's some thought behind the maps and phases. It's mixed air, ground, and infantry combat in a historic setting. Yet the template of Theaters of War could be used in so many different scenarios and maps. The first map, Crossroads of Crime, will have 3 phases, or locations where the battles take place. It will be a testbed for balancing weapons and vehicles. Theaters of War is designed to fine-tune combat, not only for the PEU, yet also for Squadron 42, which is Chris Roberts' BB. Though, when we first get into theaters, I'd only expect 7 to 8 vehicles in this first iteration, based on what we've heard on Star Citizen Live. Capital ship versus capital ship would be dope. The theoretical example Sean Tracy gave us on SCL was Idris versus Javelin, theoretically. So expounding on his idea, I'd love to see Phase 1 take out the engines of the Javelin. Phase 2, dogfight your way into the hangar of the enemy ship. Phase 3, take over the bridge and main engineering. Though, don't expect to see any of those massive capital ships in the PU or in Theaters of War until after Squadron 42 releases. Because remember, CR wants those giant ships to be first experienced in the single-player campaign before unleashing them to us so that we can go ram them into Port Tressler or something, just to see if we could move it. Now, these kind of game modes would help CIG to balance and enhance the combat experience as assets and mechanics are added, while dialing in the time to disable and the time to kill for ships. Which is something that we can expect to see change whenever we get the physical damage system rolled out, with hull armor, physicalized repairable ship components, and all that jazz. Now, CIG actually considered adding these events to the PU instead of a separate game mode like Theaters, but they need to corral the players into one area to maximize the flow of feedback data. Then we're helping. Sorry, honey, I can't right now. They really need my help testing these scatterguns tonight. I can't. The 250 millisecond delay will need to be improved, like Sean Tracy was talking about on SCL. Not ping, but the immediate feedback of your shot. Like the shot registration from you to server to client and back. Rewind time, as they call it. And he said that they've made progress on getting it into the range of other popular shooter games, like Battlefield games that run around 100 millisecond delay. But really, for the PU to feel any benefit from it, Sean said that the server needs to be running at 30 frames per second, and they're still not there yet. They will, however, be able to dynamically change the delay to fix rubber banding and to smooth things out, depending on the client's connection to the server. Plus, being able to tune it in real time, CIG will finally be able to dial in the perfect rewind time for combat and make the PU, Arena Commander, Star Marine, and Squadron all feel more accurate and more responsive. They're not done with all this, yet we can expect to see some of this tech rolled out with Theaters of War in an upcoming release. And we might get Theaters as soon as a 3.9.x patch, but Jared reiterated that not 3.9. So sometime in the first half of 2020. Hey, you know what? Grenades. They need to work, right? So I'm wondering how much lowering the rewind time would fix our potato grenades. And more destructible environment pieces will come online, he said, as they get server performance where it needs to be. But, that's just a bonus. Other quality of life improvements are needed, like in the contact lists, which will eventually be unified between electronic access and the PU and Spectrum. That'd be pretty cool. We can send friend requests like normal games, where it sends the request and then you accept it or deny it. When you're offline and someone adds you, you'd log in next time and be able to see that request pending in your contacts. Simple for the end user. Also, matchmaking. It's going to be receiving updates to help us find more populated matches more regularly. And that is going to make a huge difference. No more hide and seek 2v2 in Star Marine. It'll be bigger, more epic battles. Being able to spot enemies is something that this game really needs, in my opinion. Especially if we're already wearing high-tech helmets with HUDs. And other combined arms games like PlanetSide or Battlefield. PlanetSide you can tap Q and spot an enemy. And then you make them temporarily visible on the minimap for you and for your team, as well as lighting up their player tag for you and your team to see. With how dark some places are in the persistent universe or just in Star Citizen in general, I'd really like to see the ability to spot enemies. I'd like to see that added to the game this year, please. Maybe Theaters of War could be how we get it. As the old saying goes, the child who learns to cry gets the milk. Speaking of milking the feedback loop, in my opinion, landmines and C4 will be needed for Theaters of War and for the PU, especially if the Ursa rovers can act as mobile spawn points in theaters. We have SOCs now, server object container streaming, and platform persistence is coming, which I guess would enable the addition of landmines in the PU. We need to be able to sneak up to their spawn vehicle and, drop a pizza delivery under the wheel. And we need to be able to flank around the enemy and then sneak up to their spawn point and stick a little early Christmas present on the side of the rover and C4 it down with a click. And if CIG thinks C4 is too passé for $29.50, then call it C5 or just call it charges. Hey, we need charges on that door now. Well, call it whatever they like as long as we get them and they roll off the tongue quickly. And that way we can call it out in combat. Even sticky grenades would be a step in the right direction to get SC on par with other mixed combat games. And another mechanic that could be added is a revive mechanic. Clear! As Theaters of War was shown with 4 roles to choose from with appropriate loadouts, it would be easy for CIG to test medical gameplay additions in a petri dish like Theaters of War, healing other players. We've heard plans to add that to the game eventually. And so I wonder if CIG would ever add a revive mechanic. Like some paddles to revive fallen players. Almost PUBG style, but with paddles. Like Battlefield. Either way, with a couple of additions, they've got a 5th role to add to theaters. Medic. So this new game mode for electronic access is going to give us tons of fun and will help to finally make Star Citizen feel like a combat game instead of just an MMO. It'll feel like both. So why does Theaters of War matter? Because we will have a more polished game to play in the long run, and we'll be able to get our PvP fix without having to rack up a crime stat again. Like after that org event the other night when I was worth a 10K bounty afterwards. Allegedly had a bounty. Allegedly. Yeah. CIG is still working on some polishes, like implementing feedback from the live demo at CitizenCon, adding some cinematics and some voiceover directives that are like a Star Citizen version of Papa Vanu. This area is restricted, or clear out of that area immediately. Stuff like that. And I'm curious, were you one of the lucky 280 citizens who got to playtest Theaters of War at CitizenCon? Was it cool? And what needs to be added? Share anything you learned about Crossroads of Crime, and we will feel enlightened. And for the rest of us who haven't gotten to play yet, hey, I told you my thoughts. What are yours? Points to comments. Sub for more and look for me in the verse.
Holy shit, you guys are ruthless.
Dude, man, on my screen, you just knocked him down to his knees and you just shoved your knee into his face.
No!
I'm watching you, Vaughn.
Oh, he's got his movie glass out. Whoa, how'd you get in the snow? Oh, okay. Look at him hiding in the snow. Oh, no! He got me.